There's nothing I enjoy more than making fun of moderates, because when you tell me you're a moderate, it tells me one of four things. I've been surrounded by moderates for a lot of my life. I studied poli-sci for 4 years. I worked in a law firm. I worked in a politician's office. I know moderates. Number one, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't. I promise you, if you say you're a moderate, it's very clear what you're going to tell me in just a matter of sentences, because I'm going to go up to you. I'm going to go, tell me more about your politics. And very quickly, I'm going to learn that you either don't know what you're talking about at all, but you're afraid to say it, so that's saying a little ego thing going on there. Cute, good to know. Number two, you're apolitical, and that's also very important, because that's telling me that your involvement in the world around you starts with you. That starts with you. It says, I've not faced enough adversity for politics to affect me. I'm not political. And to that I say, you're not a billionaire. I promise you. Politics affects you, and also gross.
Now, that is very true. I think often what you'll find is people who call themselves moderates, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them simply aren't really politically adept. They don't necessarily follow politics very much. And because of that, from what they seem to be able to gather, it seems like there's a lot of extremism going on in the country. And so if they can kind of place themselves somewhere in the middle of that, then maybe, that just kind of seems to make the most sense. So there's definitely a large group of people who, that kind of is a good signal that maybe they're not very political. So you kind of will have to probe a bit more. But as she went on to point out, there's definitely that group of people who, may say that they're fiscally conservative. But when you really look at it, especially in today's political environment and atmosphere, that really doesn't mean anything at all.
Number three, it's telling me that you're a fiscal conservative, but like liberal ideologies, that's an option. Sometimes that's what they mean. At the end of the day, babe, who are you voting for? Fiscal conservatism doesn't exist. Not at all. That's not real. And number four, it's saying, I'm a conservative, but I'm not like those conservatives. I'm not an extremist. I vote for them, but I'm not like them. I would never publicize that I stormed the Capitol. I would never. Oh my God.
Because, if you have, more of a thorough education, not necessarily a formal one, but, if you're just a person who follows politics and really understands what's happening in society and how it, works and functions, then you're going to have more of a kind of identified political ideology. Not necessarily that you fit into one perfectly, but you're kind of going to be able to understand where on the spectrum you sit. You're going to be able to kind of delve deeper into the types of policies that you support and why. And again, especially within the political atmosphere that we live in now, where, calling yourself a conservative or a liberal really doesn't mean that much. It just doesn't, because, the liberals can take up a huge base of the centrist corporate Democrats. But then often the word liberal is just used as a slur to kind of engulf anyone who's any type of left wing. And then conservative, obviously, that is just a big, coin for, corporatists, especially if you're a politician claiming to be a conservative. They're just a bunch of corporatists. And it also can be bunched into people who are far right extremists. So those two terms really don't mean much of anything anymore.
Okay, and I know you don't want to hear this from me. I know. But let's break it down real quick, because again, a moderate and a centrist, two different things, and I think we forget that. But either way, let's look at our political spectrum real fast, and then I'm done. So we have our spectrum, right? In the U.S., objectively speaking, we're shifted right, aren't we? Isn't that funny? And again, remember Joe Biden, our Democratic president? His ideology, right? And so we have him here, and then we have centrists. They're not at the center, they're over here. And then moderates, probably somewhere in the middle, right? And then conservatives are all the way over there. Everything shifted to the right. You're just saying that you're not an extremist. You're saying, I'm not going to go on record as an extremist. I wouldn't do that. Will I vote for them? Oh my God, stop. I don't talk about politics. Baby back bitch. Spineless. All you're telling me.
But, for the most part, what's interesting is, people typically are on board with the same types of outcomes. We want our children to have access to good education. We want our children to have, quality food to eat. We want quality food to eat. We don't want to live within a war-torn country. We want to be able to trust our police officers to do their jobs. We want to, trust that our dollar bill will go far. We all kind of gather around in the same issues. Look at Joe Biden. He's, pretty well disliked by just about everybody. So why is that? Well, because inflation's really high and he hasn't really delivered. He hasn't transformed the economy in any type of way. He's yet to do anything with student loan debt. So again, people typically are on board with the same type of policy outcomes. Now, how they fit within the culture war, that's another story. But again, to, call yourself a moderate in today's political climate just really doesn't mean anything.